Hey everybody, welcome back. HSC Podcast 68. Big Box Steve on the mic, got the big smooth and fresh Wes. The whole crew on tonight makes for the best podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like, leave a comment. And if you're listening on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, appreciate you listening. If you see the questionnaires or the polls, please answer the polls if you guys are listeners on Spotify.
Hold
Um,
on, back up. There's polls.
yeah,
What's
I
going
started
on?
adding I started adding some polls to the uh what's the best James Bond villain and give them a
Oh,
multiple choice from last week's. And so for our top fives, I'll start adding more polls where you guys, if listening on Spotcat or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can please chime in on the polls. Love to hear it. All right, so we got a great podcast tonight. We got three good topics. We're gonna hit movies hard tonight. So we're in the sports limbo per se, right? And so we got movie topics. We're gonna throw all these different topics at you. We did James Bond villains last week, which was a great one, and we talked a little about this. And so I'm two movies down, starting the James Bond from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
So I got Doctor No and From Russia with Love.
no way.
Ooh.
You're
Yep,
actually
got
gonna do it.
I got them both down. Got two
Let
down.
us know how it goes in a year.
I will tell you. Um, Doctor No was good. It wasn't as good as I remember it being, but From Russia with Love is really good.
That's a
That's
badass one.
but the thing is, like all the reviews, that one's always in the top five because it's a
Yeah,
good movie.
it is.
It's
It's
not
great.
over the top. It's like it's compelling.
Well,
You
I
find
think
you get the inner workings of Spectre.
Yeah.
right. That's you start getting the inner workings Spectre, but you also get like I think for me anyway, it felt like Sean Connery was more comfortable in the role, and he started kind of figuring out what James Bond was all about. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just an agent. It's like now I'm James Bond. Like I'm this ladies' man. I'm this agent. I'm this awesome dude.
I'm sleeping with Russian chicks, hot Russian.
Yeah,
That's who I am.
yeah.
What
So
a
it was
sucky job.
it was great. So I can't wait to because some of these I haven't seen in a while. So I'm back on the James Bond train. And if you didn't see our last podcast, check it out because that's what we're talking about. We talked a lot about Bond movies, and it's going to be a long time to catch up on all these. There's a lot of them. But tonight, what are we getting into? So we've got three great topics. We're talking top five most memorable football games that we've seen personally. So no recorded, no like, I watched it on a replay. Anything we saw personally, we're getting into top five gem, underrated,
Talking
just
about
yeah, movies that you don't know about. Hopefully we'll throw some out there that people like say, hey, I haven't seen that or I want to watch that. Give you some hidden gem movies. And then we're getting into westerns because we haven't done westerns yet. And what are the best westerns out there? Uh, I was talking about best westerns. I was like, remember Wes when we wanted to go to all the best westerns? A little
Who?
different. We're talking movies, not
I
the
don't
actual
know what we're talking about.
the hotels. So let's get it. Which one you guys want to start with?
Yeah,
Let's switch it up. Let's go movies, sports, movies. So let's start off with the westerns.
oh god.
Let's get into the westerns first. I think we should start there. Um, I chose classic westerns. Sounds like Derek may have hit into the later '80s and '90s,
I have a
but
hodgepodge.
there's a hodgepodge, a lot of different movies out there. So here we go. HSC Podcast, top five westerns. Wes, lead us off. Number five. To your topic.
I gotta go with Young Guns too, man.
Oh
Young
man.
Guns too. Emilio Estevez.
So good.
Come on, dude. I think I've
All
seen that
day.
movie like 50 times. I mean, and
Yep.
you think it's one of those sequels. It's like, man, is it really better than the first one?
It is.
It,
It
it's
is.
No, it's not. First one is
oh
amazing.
No,
god,
I agree with Wes in this that the second is better than the first. I love the first. First is great too. This is one where you're like, these are two great movies.
it's really hard. It's just the very end fight scene in Young Guns. It's like, come on, dude, you all should be dead.
Yeah,
Right.
Like,
that's why it
there's
was
no
awesome.
way you live. No
Comes
way.
out of the luggage container, you know, like
Right, right.
Yeah. But there's just so many great lines in the second one and just so many great scenes.
I think
And-
the second one, Christian Slater, I can't think kind of steals it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why. So I love the second one for Christian Slater, and I love for the Pat Garrity line or that whole plot. I like that addition to it. You know, Jack Palance obviously does a good job in one, but I think Christian Slater and Pat Garrity in the second one, and it's just as good. So I don't know. It's tough. You're right. It is tough. It's really hard to choose. I didn't go with anything that late, so all mine are earlier, but I would definitely say Young Guns 2 is top. You got to put it up there. So I mean, that's your number five? Man, you got a good
there's
list
a
going.
lot of good westerns.
Okay, okay. So I got at five. I got Clint Eastwood, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I mean, it's so good how he's got his friend, and his friend kind of backstabs him, and then he gets him back in the end. But he doesn't kill him. That's the great part. Like he shoots the he's got him he's hanging in the noose, and he shoots the noose, and then you don't really know what happens there at the end. Uh, but I think Clint Eastwood does a good job in that movie of not playing like the he's not the superhero. He's just kind of like it's one of his best roles of just being great in the movie without being over the top. It's not like he's Superman like a lot of westerns. And so I got the Good, the Bad, the Ugly at five.
I'm gonna go way off on these. So I've got the 1969 classic Support Your Local Sheriff.
Oh man, is it better than Support Your Local Gunfighter?
Yeah, Sheriff, because Sheriff's the original. So you gotta
Right.
get
And James Garner's great. I love James Garner.
I mean,
But
it comes Maverick, right? I mean,
right, yeah.
I just I don't know how many times when I was a kid watched that movie.
Right. And it's nice to have a little bit of comedy in the movie, because those are different types of westerns. You're not laughing a lot in the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Right. And then most of the cast are Western veterans of actual,
Right.
like Jack Elam. I mean, he always plays a bad guy, and this he gets a little comedian.
Yeah, no, I mean I can't tell you how many times I watched that and I loved it. That was more of our style when we were kids and our parents were forcing us to watch westerns. Those were more our style. I unfortunately, had to watch all of the old westerns, so I got a good mix. But yeah, great movie. Love it. Good mix there. Wes got a little newer. I got old school. Derek's got a little modern western, if you would call it. All right, so number four. For me, I got The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. So this is John Wayne, obviously, but also Jimmy. Oh man, the dude from
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart. There you go. That just slipped my mind for a second. But what I really like about that is because Jimmy Stewart did westerns, right?
Yeah.
Like he's known for different movies, but he did westerns. Now you're with John Wayne, and then guess what? You're the man that shot Liberty Valance, not John Wayne. But besides that, it's a good movie. It's a good plot. It's a classic western. But it's good to see Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne together, two different acting styles, and I think it's a great movie. So I got that at 4.
My 4, and like I said, gonna be different. From 1970, Kirk Douglas classic. There was a crooked man.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
You have Kirk Douglas. You've got Henry Fonda.
Oh.
Henry Fonda is the villain. I mean, it's Warren Oates, Hume Crone, Burgess Meredith. It's got a huge list. Such a great classic movie, and probably I guess you guys have never heard of it.
I have actually never seen it.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's quintessential Kirk Douglas. It's great.
Right. And you gotta love Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, he's an outlaw who hits some money, gets caught, goes to this prison, and then it tries to figure out a way to escape the prison. Yeah, it's
that time old story.
yep.
I'm gonna have to watch that now. That's good. I like it. All right, Wes, what do you got for?
I got a few dollars more.
Oh yeah, that was right there.
I've seen that movie way too many times. Like,
Yeah.
I got it on DVD. Like, the Lee Van Cleef just makes the movie for me.
Yep.
I mean, dude, he's so awesome in that movie. It's just
When you look at
classic spaghetti western.
Fistful of Dollars and A Few Dollars More, like they're just those are just so good. And for A Few Dollars More, for me, I think is a little bit better than A Fistful of Dollars, but it's great. Yeah, that's a tough one, and I'll tell you, that was right there. That was one of the last ones I took off my list.
Well, it's kind of hard. It's like you kind of have to pick one of the three, right? You can't.
Right. That's why I went with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
But I've seen A Few Dollars More a lot more than the good. I've only seen Good, Bad, and Ugly just a few times. So,
but I could go either way with those two, though. I could go either way with A Few Dollars More for A Few Dollars More and Good, Bad, and the Ugly. So yeah, I had to. You're right. I had to eliminate one of those three because they're basically so similar and right along. They're all in the same line, right?
Yeah, the same characters, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Well, because it is. It's like a line of movies. So
yeah.
That's a good 4. I like it. Good job. All right, number 3, Derek.
This one was a toss-up for me because there's two movies that they're the exact same movies, pretty much, but the lead is the same, but the cast is a little different. And I was like, James Caan or Dean Martin, which one I'm going to go with.
Oh yeah.
So I went with Rio Bravo.
Yeah.
Dean Martin as the town drunk instead of Robert Mitchum, and Ricky Nelson, the young hotshot, instead of James Caan.
Right.
Plus, it was the original.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, Dean Martin. He plays such a good role in that. He's playing the drunk, but he's the gunslinger. And then
it's hard because James Caan is Mississippi,
right,
with the shot-off shotgun because he can't shoot straight. He can't shoot.
Yeah, but even drunk Dean Martin's
that's why I had to go Rio Bravo.
Shooter. Yeah, no, I got you. Love it. Wes, what do you got at 3?
I got a movie called Tombstone.
Oh yeah,
dude, come on.
I mean everybody knows Tombstone's up there. I only because I went earlier, I obviously would pick Tombstone in the top five.
I mean, Val Kilmer makes the whole damn movie. I mean, there's so many great lines, so many great scenes. It's a tragedy he did not get nominated. He should have just got
Yeah.
nominated. I don't care who. Just give him a nod. I mean, if you ask today, like, should he have got? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and Kurt Russell, it just nails White. I mean, he just nails Wyatt Earp.
It blew Wyatt Earp, the movie, out of the water.
Oh,
Yeah.
killed it. It wasn't even close. I think Kurt Russell, I thought he did a great job in that
Yeah.
movie. Obviously Val Kilmer plays the best role because he encapsulates the part better than anybody else does. But Kurt Russell does a great job. Bill Paxton? No, Bill Pullman? No, Bill
No,
Paxton, right?
Paxton.
Paxton. Bill Paxton. I always mix
Yeah,
those
Sam
two up.
Elliott.
It's Bill Paxton and Sam Elliott, right? They play the
Dude,
brothers.
Sam Elliott's in the movie.
Right.
That's all we got. We could just
And-
stop right there.
But here's the thing about Tombstone versus Wyatt Earp in particular is the cowboys in the movie do such a good job with their roles.
Oh yeah, they do.
Powers Booth and Michael
Yeah.
Biehn.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't even remember his name, the guy that he was the villain in Avatar. Because
the guy that plays Curly Bill?
no, the guy that plays
Johnny Ringo?
no, the brother that's the dummy.
Oh, yeah. He's talking about that. Oh, what's his name?
I'm looking it up.
He's basically the guy that starts the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he's
Ike Clanton.
Ike Clanton, yes. He's the guy that plays Ike Clanton.
Yeah, Stephen Lang. Because he's
he starts the whole thing because of what he does inside the bar, right? So yeah, I love Tombstone. Like I said, I went older than Tombstone, but if I had gone newer, easily Tombstone's up there.
And
easily.
everyone forgets about Billy Bob Thornton being in it.
Right. Yep. Love it. Well, I don't need to spend a lot of time on this one because we just said it. Rio Bravo at number 3. Because how can you not put Dean Martin and John Wayne in the top 5 together? But it's so classic, and Dean Martin plays the drunk better than anybody. But the actual movie's good too, right? Like it's that tale of everybody's beating up on Dean Martin because he's lost it. He's a drunk, and he's no good anymore. And then of course he has to save the day. And so Rio Bravo for me, gotta be there. Gotta be there at 3. Let's see. So Derek, you started at 3, right? So Wes, what do you got at 2?
I got The Searchers.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Dude, I don't know. I've seen that movie like 30 times. It's just, dude, John Wayne just makes the movie. It's just trying to find the girl.
Yeah.
And, he's got the kid. He's got to deal with the freaking kid. And it's just, stand aside. He's like going to shoot his niece. I'm like, really? Like, he just doesn't care.
Yeah, I had to make the choice between Searchers and Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Because I didn't want to have like all John Wayne movies.
Yeah, it's the problem. Right?
Even though I could easily have, top 5 John Wayne movies. Like we'll get in like honorable mentions afterwards, but that Searchers I think was at 7 for me, so it was right there.
Well, funny thing about Searchers, when I was in college, I took a cinema class, and they had stuff like, what was it? Something Strawberries. It's like a foreign movie, and they had a bunch of Like I'm like, oh gosh. And then we like, oh, this week it's The Searchers. And I'm like,
You're like,
yes.
yes.
We had the man who shot Liberty Valance in our film school in our film.
Nice.
So
Well, I mean,
we had a bunch of John Ford movies,
yeah,
and we had The Searchers too.
yeah, it's really good. I think the thing about Searchers is it's just all about John Wayne.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, there's not a lot of other things happening other than John Wayne in that movie.
He is not. He's just like he just doesn't care. He's like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna shoot my niece. Like, really? And that's the twist. You're like, don't do it. She's just a little girl. She'll be fine. Like,
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, there's a couple other unmentionables I'll throw out, but Searchers is one of them. So that's great. If you're gonna watch John Wayne movies, Searchers has to be one of them, right?
yeah.
So I'm back to Clint Eastwood again here. It's the outlaw Josie Wales. Always doubles back for a friend. But I love this story because, it's if you haven't seen the outlaw Josie Wales, you gotta watch it. He's a Confederate soldier and his family gets killed. It's like the Confederate soldiers are surrendering and then the Union soldiers kill him and then he kills them and he becomes an outlaw. But then he goes and like becomes the guy who helps the pilgrimage type people, and he's their protector, but he's a one in man, and then he puts them in danger. And it's just a classic story. And Clint Eastwood, he's the man in that movie more than any other movie he's in. And it's not because he's doing all the normal Clint Eastwood stuff. It's because he's actually doing like he's a good dude. He's put in a bad situation. He's trying to protect people, but he's trying to avenge his family. Like it's just such a good movie. And I love it. It's one of the best Clint Eastwood movies. So that's what I got it to.
Okay, so my number two.
Yep.
Okay, it's a 1968 classic with Charles Bronson and Henry Ford. It's Once Upon a Time in the
Oh,
West.
Once Upon a Time in the West. That's so good. It's Charles Bronson.
Yep, playing the harmonica the whole time.
Yep.
Henry Fonda, just money in the movie.
Yeah. Bronson, he did such a good job changing roles throughout his career, but he was great, I think, in his Western roles. He didn't do a lot of them, but he was good.
Well, this and Magnificent Seven, I mean, that's two of the
Oh,
best
Magnificent
ever. I mean,
Seven. Oh man. Yeah, Magnificent Seven. That's good. It's real good. That was definitely top 10 for me. But Once Time in the West was right there. I think I had that at like 8. So that's a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, like these are the type of movies people need to watch because a lot of times you get stuck in that westerns of John Wayne, you know, uh, Clint Eastwood. Who's that other guy? I'll think of his name later. But there's a lot of them you just get stuck in those type of movies. Magnificent Seven is great too. Once Upon a Time in the West. These are good movies people need to check out when you're thinking of westerns. All right, here we go. Number one. I'll lead it off here. I have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and Robert Redford, Paul Newman playing Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Best picture, right?
It didn't win. It was up for Best Picture.
Yeah, he shouldn't win.
No,
Oh,
it's
what best director? Won best director and best screenplay.
was it 60? Yeah, it won a couple.
So it won 2 Oscars. But still, it's like here you go with this. It's the classic train robbers running from the law, and you got two really good actors. They play the roles perfectly. There's another movie that comes out similar to it it's kind of like that. We were just talking about how Wyatt Earp Tombstone, right? This is like the same as that, where they did so much better than the other movie, and you really have just two iconic actors in it, and it's a great story of outlaws, and that's what westerns are about to me. Like it's about the outlaws. So love that movie, one of my favorites. You gotta see it.
All right, here we're going a little modern. My number one is also where it's interesting, where the good guy was a bad guy and the bad guy was a good guy, but that would be the actual Oscar winning performance of Unforgiven.
Oh yeah.
The ending of Unforgiven is one of the greatest endings of all time, of any movie of all time.
Yeah.
And Gene Hackman, like, he carried the movie up until that point. But for me, that ending of seeing Clint Eastwood trying so hard to be good, and at the end just saying, you know what, screw it. I'm going back to my old ways one more time.
Right. And Gene Hackman really is just incredible in that movie. We should have a timeline for newer and older westerns, because the newer westerns are good. There's so many good ones, and then a lot of great older ones. Unforgiven is definitely one of the best. All right, Wes, number one. What do you got?
No, it's the same as Derek. I got
Unforgiven.
and I mean, the thing is, and that's what Derek's. They kind of build it up, and he's like, everyone's like, oh yeah, this dude's a killer. This guy's this. All these stories. But the best is when he finds out that Ned gets killed, and the girl tells him, and he's like, Ned's not dead. And she's like, yeah, he's dead. And you could see how mad he gets.
And they're like, he's up in front of the
and he's like, so Ned got killed for what we did. And then she started talking about the stories. Ned started talking about you, William Money, that killed women and children, all this stuff. And then he takes the whiskey. And you're like, oh,
You're like, it's all over now.
and it's masterfully done, because
Yes,
you're just
it
like,
is.
oh, dude, he's gonna kill a lot of people. You just killed Ned.
Right.
You got problems now. And he starts drinking the whiskey, and the best part is the kid, because the kid thinks he's a pussy the whole time. He's like, he's no killer, dude.
You're right.
And then he hears the woman tell the stories about all the stuff he's done, and he starts drinking the whiskey. And then
he's like, you can keep the money.
And then the kid's like, hey, dude, I'm not like you, man. I don't want any part of this. He kills everybody. Yeah, it's my number one.
Yeah, I would easily put that up there as well. Like, so good. I went a little too classic in my list, but you guys had some really good ones. I mean, Tombstone is so good. Unforgiven, it's
But
amazing.
speaking of another ending, that's one of the only movies I watched with my dad when I was a kid. I think I was like 14 when I watched that. And we went and watched that together, and we're like, oh my God, no way. And, everyone thinks, oh yeah, Kurt Russell's going to get freaking killed. And then here comes Doc Holliday. He's like, I'll
Right.
And I mean, just classic.
Well, and yeah, the whole, like, Doc Holliday, obviously Tombstone's not the same without Val Kilmer,
Oh.
and the whole thing between him and Johnny Rigo, the whole movie, it's so good. From yeah, when he's flipping the little,
he's like, he
coffee.
reminds, why I hate him. He reminds me of me.
Yeah.
That's right. I hate him.
So there's a couple other. So John Wayne, we could have done a whole John Wayne westerns, but he did a lot of other good movies like Red River. It's really good. And then even like Sons of Katie Elder, McClintock, those type of movies. I love those John Wayne movies.
Oh, we're forgetting what's his Oscar nominated one.
True Grit.
True Grit.
Yes.
Rooster Cogburn. I
Yep.
mean, like I said, you could go on and on about that. And True Grit, like I love True Grit. It's just the girl annoyed me, so I couldn't put it on there. But
Yeah.
I love True Grit. It's great because he's so brutal. So there's so many good John Wayne. So a lot of those, and Wes already mentioned, Fist for a few dollars more, Fistful of Dollars. Like there's so many honorable mentions in there. Um, I'm
I've
glad
got
that
it
you guys.
out of the box one though. It's a
Okay,
Western. Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. So I had to take Blazing Saddles off. I think it went off about 10 because I love Blazing Saddles, right? I mean, but you could even go into like Maverick, dude. Remember the newer Maverick with Mel
Oh
Gibson
yeah, I watched it like last
and
month because
James
it's
Garner.
fun to just fun to watch.
Yeah, Jodie Foster's so good. And then like Young Guns too, Tombstone. Like, so there's a lot of good ones, especially as you get later.
And
I
I
love the
almost this
classics.
almost, and then I took it off my list because I'm like, no, this is way too crazy. The Three Amigos.
The Three
Oh, no.
Amigos. Might as well put in like Back to the Future 3.
That's
Hey,
what I was gonna say. No, I was gonna say that Back to the Future
Three
3 is a
Amigos and
Western.
IMDb is a Western.
Right,
Oh,
right.
geez, man.
It's so good. Lots of good westerns. Love it. Good stuff there. So let's change gears. Jump into a little bit of sports. So we did sports most memorable moments, and I know we picked some moments. At least I did, and that were ones that we know about, we not necessarily seen. This one we're gonna kind of crunch it into just football games, but it's games that we've seen. So, what's most memorable to you? The best games you saw, most memorable games. So, we're going top 5 HSC Podcast most memorable football games. So, Derek, lead us off. Number 5.
Well, this one was in my moments, but it's wide right.
Oh,
Giants
yeah.
Bills Super Bowl.
Scott Norwood.
Scott Norwood.
Oh, dude.
And, I mean, maybe
Finkel
everybody didn't see that.
Einhorn.
But, dude, I remember watching that game and him missing the field goal. And you're just like, oh my God. It was so heart wrenching.
And that's the thing is like now, back when it was on and you're watching it, you're like, oh my gosh, how you missed that? And then later people are like, oh, that was a hard kick. But
Right.
the announcers and stuff didn't make it seem like a hard kick.
Right. Yeah, and it's the Super Bowl and it's for the win. And it's
Mhm.
like, and the Bills needed it. God, they needed that win.
So that was the first one.
Yeah, like because that would have changed their whole,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe it wouldn't have. Maybe they still would have lost multiple in a row, but imagine if they win that game, the momentum they have going forward. I think it would have changed their whole Super Bowl history.
Yeah. Well, because it's also such a classic because Parcells and Belichick, they decided, hey, what we're going to do is we're just going to run Otis Anderson
Right.
and we're going to slow this game. And so you're not going to get the ball so many times to just do your run and gun.
Yeah, it's just such a brutal miss, too. And just remember how many times we saw it on replay. Like they just kept showing it over and over again.
Well, like Wes said, they made a movie basically on that premise. And Ace
Yeah.
I know. It's so bad.
got
Wes,
a
what do you
dolphin
got?
out here kicking field goals.
You got a dolphin. Wes, what do you got at 5? What do you got at 5, Wes?
Oh man, I got the Giants and the Patriots. Super Bowl 42.
Oh yeah.
Oh jeez. I remember us watching that. I watched that game. I'm like, no, you just had that feeling like, man, they cannot score points.
Hmm.
Like they got lucky to score that touchdown, like to get it to 14-10. They go down and Plaxico Burress catches the ball, and you're like, let's go, Randy Moss. And I remember seeing Matt behind me, and Matt was like, "We're basically gonna kill everybody." And I'm like, "Hey, let's go, Patriots! Please don't kill me, Matt." And
See, I
then
was the other opposite. I was poking Matt, probably.
you
I
were,
was-
and I thought he was gonna take it out on me. He's gonna break my arm. I go, "Don't kill me, Matt, dude. Don't do it." And he shook my hand. He's like, "Good game." And I'm like, "Come on, man. You know you want to kill somebody. Just don't kill me."
That was rough. That was a good game. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Patriots, man. How do you
Wow.
lose that game? How do you lose that game?
perfection too, right?
Yeah, I mean, say that's a time you go 19-0.
It's like Randy Moss, just go downfield
Yeah.
the whole game. You'll catch.
No, because you got Randy Moss, David Tyree out there just being.
Yeah.
That
That was
catch
a
was
great
so
game.
lucky. Talk about stick him. Like he must have
Oh
stick him on his
God.
helmet. He's like,
Well, and that was also the Mario Manningham catch, right?
no,
Yeah.
That was the other one.
That was Super Bowl 46.
Oh, okay.
The sideline catch.
Oh yeah.
That was an amazing play too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna nobody listening can watch this game or knows this game. I'm just going back to a little nostalgia here. I'm gonna say I think it's 93. We'll call it 93. Call it the Park Rose Broncos, the Centennial Eagles.
Oh no.
I'm doing it.
I got the tape at home at my
We got
parents' house.
yeah, anybody wants to watch it, let Derek know. We got the number two
That's such a heartbreaking game, though.
number two in the state, Centennial Eagles, playing the
Oh.
winless Park Rose Broncos.
You actually told us where we're from.
And
Damn
this is it, dude. People like the news showed up at halftime, set up their cameras to watch
Dude.
this game.
No, that game was pretty legit though.
Yeah. And
Like we
for
were
me,
watching the stands, like Steve's in the game, man.
dude, yeah, and I played a lot in that game, dude. I was like, I caught, in the fumble and the punt with Jesse Brand. Like it was for me, that is my most memorable game of all my games I ever played, just because it was just like it was so exciting to be involved in a game like that where we had a chance to beat a great team.
Yeah, I was on the field for when Avery threw the ball over Marcel's head.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And for the interception too, I was on the field for that one.
It was a great game, and it was fun to be a part of it. We had a good chance against the one of the best teams in the state, and it was my most memorable game for me as a football player.
It
And
would
so
have
I'm
been
gonna
the
get
biggest upset in the history of upsets.
Oh, it'd have been the biggest. That's why the news showed up, dude. News, like, nobody cared about the game until it was like tied at halftime, and like the news was like set with their cameras. They're like, "What's happening here?" And so it was good. And so I'm gonna give it at least a number 5 nod, even though nobody knows about it. It's our high school memory. So that's my number 5.
I need a drink now.
What, Wes? What do you got? What do you got at 4, Wes?
Derek's gonna need a drink. You better get a drink right now, Derek, because I'm gonna tell you my number 4. The number 4 is 2007 Boise State, Oklahoma.
Which, yes, I can't put that on my list.
Oh, the Statue of Liberty.
That's no, it's the hook and ladder first.
Well, right.
Derek. So here, Oklahoma takes the lead. Derek, I'm on the phone with Derek. Derek's, I'm done. He freaking turns off the TV, doesn't want to watch the game anymore. And I'm like, I don't really care. This is kind of fun. And they did the hook and ladder play to tie the game and put it in overtime.
Right.
And I'm like, I think Derek broke his TV. So I was calling Derek. I called him a couple times. I go, Derek, they just did the hook and ladder. It's in overtime.
It's in overtime.
Statue of Liberty and won the game.
Oh, so great.
I was like, Derek just broke his TV. He can't watch the rest of the game.
The
If you
hook and
didn't break your
ladder.
TV right there, you just turn
Huh?
it. You didn't break your TV, you just turn it off.
Yeah, no, I was at because I was working graveyard, so like my time during the day is precious. And that happened, and I was so mad.
You're
So I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. I'm exhausted. So yeah, and then you
and
called,
then
and
and
then
then no, to top it off, the dude that scored the touchdown proposes to the girl on
Right.
TV.
See,
Right.
now I caught
Like,
the
how do
end.
you even make this?
I caught the end because you called.
Like, I'm calling he did.
That was a good game. Like,
I specifically, that was the game I thought, I'm like, I can't put it on there. I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
There's one more college game that I didn't watch that I was watching because I had to work, and I had to watch it on like Statcast because it was before like having your phones to be able to watch games.
right.
And I
Well,
bet one of you guys will have that one maybe.
I got my number 4, and here it is. It's the 2006, the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, USC,
Oh,
Texas.
And that's the one I had to watch on Gamecast because I was at work.
Oh, dude. And I mean, I remember this game like it was yesterday. This was one of the best games I've seen. Vince Young runs for 200 yards. He's throwing the ball, but you got Reggie Bush and Lindell White, and dude, and then they're just USC's just got this juggernaut on offense, but Vince Young's dominating the game. It's back and forth. It's back and forth. And in the last, right at the end of the game, Vince Young drops back, scrambles to the right, goes to the edge, goes to the corner of the end zone, gets the
such
touchdown,
garbage. It's
wins the
such
national
garbage.
championship. And it was amazing.
He should have been allowed to run.
Oh
Okay,
my dude.
let's say no. Vince Young can't run. Who wins the game by 3 touchdowns?
No, it doesn't matter. Like Vince
Suck.
Young.
Leinart can't pass.
Yeah, Liner can't pass. Liner
Dude,
had a good
Lindell
decent
White,
game.
Reggie Bush threw away the game in the first quarter. He's like
Lindell White outrushed
lateral.
Reggie Bush. Lindell White dominated that game.
No, forget about that. Well, no, we'll get in.
Yeah,
We'll
so
get in that.
I got the 2006 Rose Bowl because I love that game. One of my most favorite games I ever watched. We were watching it in a pub on a big screen, just like a crowd of people. We're all standing at the end of the game, and Vince Young scores the touchdown. Everybody goes nuts. Like it was crazy. So I got it there. That's my number 4.
My number 4 is anticlimactic. It's the Giants taking away the perfect season from the Patriots. So West is 5.
Yeah, did we just go there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little anticlimactic, but it was a great game. Like you can't get wrong with that because they broke the perfect season.
And then it's like, just how many times did you think it was over, and Eli Manning just all of a sudden just like, I'm just gonna throw the ball in the air, and it just
Yeah, you might as well just punted it over his head.
Yeah, those were great.
Oh, it was crazy.
it reminded me, but it didn't end the same as like the Seahawks Patriots one, where
Right.
also they drove down, and it was like a bunch of plays were like, how did you do that? And then they got it on the one, and then of course they screwed it. But
Right. But it never felt like the Giants were going to win that game.
Right.
But then they win. That's what was
Yeah.
so crazy about that game.
You just saw that Patriots weren't scoring points, and you're just like, man, this is really going to go down.
Yeah, it's like that momentum grabber. All right, so we got number 3. I think this is me. I got Super Bowl 23.
Oh no!
I mean, San Francisco, Cincinnati. I just remember watching this as a young kid. And, my dad's a huge 49ers fan. And I'm not obviously not a Cincinnati fan, but I'm doing the icky shuffle just because I want Cincinnati, whatever. And then they do the drive, and Taylor catches the ball, and it's probably the most iconic catch I mean, it's just crazy that drive the whole time. And Montana just looks so cool the
Mhm.
whole drive, and you're like, this dude is amazing. And then he just hits John Taylor instead of Jerry Rice for
He turned to
the
Rice the whole
touchdown.
entire drive. And then,
Right, right. And then he's just like, you know what? Go ahead. Here comes John Taylor. So one of my most memorable Super Bowl moments was that drive. That whole game was great. We were playing a game called Pigskin Vegas, and you had to like bet on each play. And you're like, they're going to run the ball, they're going to pass the ball, it's going to go for 10 yards, it's going to go left, it's going to go right. And so we were playing this game the whole time until the last drive. We just stopped playing. So the game kind of ended right there on the last drive, and everybody was just like eyes glued to the TV. And it was like, what's going to happen?
I think you
And
took like
it
Wes's.
happened.
I think you took Wes's number one.
No, that's my number 3 too.
Oh,
Well,
Well,
number 3.
let's get Derek's number 3.
okay. So now I'm going to go college, and it's so funny because it's not even teams I care about, but the 2001 Holiday Bowl, Major Applewhite, because
Oh
I
yeah.
remember I was so upset, and I'm pretty sure I complained to Wes about this all the time. How Chris Sims should not have been the starting quarterback for Texas, and it should be Major Applewhite. Well, and then he comes in and makes one of the greatest comebacks of all time in bowl history,
Right.
and beats Washington.
Right. Major
Yeah.
Applewhite.
Yeah, Chris Sims is garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. What Major Applewhite do? That was a great game, though. You got to admit it. All right, Wes. What do you got at 3?
We're at 3? Oh, it's San Francisco and Cincinnati. Yeah, that's my number 3. Because I sat there and watched the whole game. I mean, I was like 10 years old and we had money on it. And I had the Niners winning by 4. And so I won $50. Because I picked the Niners by 4. And I remember the drive. And Jerry Rice couldn't be stopped. Like, it's just stupid. Like,
Yeah.
and this is like even before I was like, I didn't really know Jerry Rice that well. I mean, it's like Jesus, dude. It's like cannot be stopped. It's like going into Rice for the end zone. Nope, it was John Taylor or the middle touchdown.
Well, yeah, because we were like 10 years old.
Yeah, it's like who's this Jerry Rice guy? He's pretty good. Why doesn't he play for why doesn't Marino have Jerry Rice?
Dude, he had Clayton and Duper.
Yeah. I think Marino had decent receivers.
He did. But
I remember it too because Tim Crumry getting hurt on like the first.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
And then it was like brutal. 20. It took forever.
It took like, yeah. It's like they had to put his leg back on. It's like, geez, brutal.
Yeah, that was brutal. And it was a rematch Super Bowl too. Like it was just a crazy, it was such a good game. Super Bowl 23. All right. Number 2, Derek, you leading this off here. What do you got at 2?
Number 2 is the 1993 AFC wildcard game. Frank Reich's.
Oh, the comeback.
Oh, geez.
I was so mad because I wanted the Oilers to win so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I watched the entire game and I was like, I can't believe this is happening.
This is happening. I watched that game too. It was unbelievable what was happening. And it was Frank Reich.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know what?
He wouldn't even be a coach right now if that game didn't happen.
You know what's funny is I was skiing. Like me and Dustin were skiing with the family. And we went to the lodge and it was like 35-3 and like game over, or 31-3. It was 31-3. And we're like, it's over. And then we come back down like, what the F? Like, what is going on here?
So good. I'm not a fan of either team, but I gotta tell you, I was rooting for the comeback. I was rooting for the comeback.
I really enjoyed the run and shoot Oilers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you got to root for the comeback, Like, I mean, obviously you can't, but for
No,
anybody else,
absolutely not. Can't root for the comeback because you know why?
Because they would
the
have played in the
Dolphins
Raiders.
were the number 1 seed. They're going to the Super Bowl, and the freaking Bills beat them in the AFC Championship when they had playing at home, 22-10. I even remember the score. Like, no, I don't want the Bills. They're going
such
to
a
beat
good
the
game.
Dolphins.
All right, Wes, what do you got at 2?
Texas USC, man. Dude, I mean, talk about a matchup. I mean, that game was the most tight game I think there ever has been. Because
in national championship history, like it's as good as it gets.
It's like Ali versus Frazier, 2 undefeated champions playing, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, all the celebrities at the game, it's in the Rose Bowl, so USC kind of has home field advantage. But that game, I mean, when Reggie Bush freaking lateral the ball, you're like, what the F are you doing, dude? Like, you guys got these guys in the ropes. You guys,
yeah.
And Texas, yeah, of course, Texas, it was a close game all the way through the 4th quarter, and then USC, I'm just gonna throw the ball to Dwayne Jarrett because he's all right, and then Lindale White, okay, you're gonna stop Reggie Bush, we'll just hand the ball to Lindale White and we'll
right.
And he scores a couple touchdowns. They're up by like 2 touchdowns in the lose game.
Yeah. And then what happened? The man came about, Vince Young.
Oh,
what do you have, like 450 all-purpose yards?
Yeah, because I don't understand it. It's like, come on, Pete Carroll, you're supposed to be a defensive guy. Look at Matt Liner's balling. I mean, Reggie Bush still had a good game. He jumped over a couple people. Like,
yeah, he only rushed for like 80 yards though, or something.
Yeah, Dwayne Jarrett's like balling. Lindale White was like, and it was funny. I remember the end of the game, and I couldn't believe they lost. And Matt Liner walked off the field. He just saw him. He's like, "No, we didn't."
No,
we
that's
won.
the end. That's the end of Matt Liner's career. That was it. It was done. It was done.
Like done. I was like,
right.
You were supposed to be the best left-handed quarterback.
Vince
Young let us all
Vince Young had 467 yards total offense.
Oh, yeah.
200 yards rushing.
267 in the air.
But, Liner threw for 365.
Yeah, he did. Liner had a good game. Reggie Bush really let him down.
He did.
Because Reggie Bush was the greatest college player ever at that time.
He was the human highlight reel.
He was. And then he doesn't show up for the national championship?
He did all right.
But
not to his standard.
What do you have, Derek? What do you have? 70 yards? 80 yards?
Let me look here.
Like, let's get some stats on Reggie Bush here, because I don't think he had more than 80.
He had a touchdown.
maybe 80.
No, they keyed on him.
82.
82.
But he had 95 yards receiving.
Right, yeah. Because Liner was throwing the ball a lot.
He was throwing lasers.
Yeah.
Lindale White had 124 yards.
Yeah, Lindale, and 3 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, but so Reggie Bush only had 13 carries and he had 82 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a problem.
No, they definitely focused on Reggie, and they should have. Like, they did the right thing. But Vince Young dominated the game, and that's why they won. All right. I got my number 2 here. Derek's not going to like it. It's the 96 Fiesta Bowl.
Oh, dude.
It's Nebraska, Florida. And it's probably one of my most favorite games I ever watched because Tommy Frazier dominates the game. It's the worst loss in national championship history until recently. Like until this year.
TCU.
Until this year. No, until this year.
Yeah.
That was the worst loss. Tommy runs for 200. Lawrence Phillips runs for like 160. Amon Green runs for another 70. But you got Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips, and Amon Green in the backfield running the triple option. Like, good luck.
You know what's funny? That was on this last week.
Yeah.
It was on like the Big Ten network. And I was like, oh, what's this game? And then I turned it on. I'm like, nope. Turn that off.
Dude, their defense, though, was also just like killing.
Well, that was the whole thing. I remember that game very well. I wanted to break a bunch of stuff because they would blitz every down.
Yeah, every down.
And Spurrier would put them behind no backs with the quarterback behind the center. It was the most dumbest.
Dude, they were coming off the corners and just killing him. Even when he got the ball off, he was getting hit all game. But when Tommy Frazier had the 75-yard run, he gets out and there's a couple people on him and he breaks away a couple more people. And all of a sudden he just bows out for 75. That's when it was like, this is it. This is the game.
Dude, the dudes were bouncing off of him.
Dude, it was crazy. They couldn't tackle him to save their life. And it was great. And obviously it's memorable for me because I'm a Nebraska fan. But Tommy Frazier dominated that game like you hadn't seen in a long time, and you didn't see for a long time. And that was one of my most memorable games. Is that
Tommy Frazier's career? This is how freshman year goes to the Orange Bowl and loses. Second year, number 2 in the nation to play number 1 Florida State. They lost by 2 points.
The Phantom clip. Don't tell me about the Phantom clip.
No, that's not. Is that the Phantom clip?
That was a Phantom clip.
And then Tommy Frazier, third year, wins the national championship against Miami in the Orange Bowl.
Right.
Then his senior year against Florida.
National championship. That's a great career. And he should have had he could have won all 4. But
did you ever watch his freshman when they played Florida State?
Yeah.
But he kept throwing the ball away. He's like running the option. He's like, throw. I'm like, what are you doing, Tommy? I was like,
well, he's a freshman, dude.
He's a freshman.
Yeah. What a brutal game. 62-24 or something like that, right?
No, I don't even remember. It was 60 something. That's all I know.
62-24, I think.
I stopped watching like the third quarter.
It was man, I just loved it. I was at Stefan's house. We were watching it. And it was just brutal, dude. And I loved every minute of it. So that's number 2. Let's see. Let's get into number 1. Let's get into it. Wes, you're leading us off here.
Well, I got to go with the Patriots and the Falcons.
Oh, the comeback.
Got to go there, Derek. What a game.
I knew they were going to win, so I went home. I was like,
dude, I've never seen Brady get punked that bad in a game in the first half. I'm like, this game's over.
I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm going to go home. Patriots are going to win.
No. This is what happened. So they cut inch back. Now it's 28-10. And then they get to 20 to 28, right? They get the 2, now they're down by 8 in the fourth quarter. And Dave started freaking out. He's like, Trump was right. He's going to win. He started talking about Trump. I'm like, I don't give a shit about Trump. And Derek's like, I got to go. And we're like, what? You can't leave now, dude. They're coming back to win, man.
Well, I knew they were coming back to win. I didn't want to see it.
Have you ever seen How I Met Your Mother?
Saw the ending.
You guys ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
Derek is the Blitz. When he leaves, something amazing happens.
No, but it was already happening. It was.
Yeah,
I even said me like a child.
I even said when I left, I'm like, the Patriots are going to come back and win this.
Right.
Yeah, but they're really. I mean, you just kind of saw. You had that feeling, but the best part is like Brady They actually ran like 3 plays, and they couldn't stop it.
No.
If you actually watch it, they ran basically 3 plays.
Well, White was just killing him.
Yeah, because
Killing him.
And that is why I cannot stand Kyle Shanahan and all this love he gets for being such a great coach, because he's the reason they lost.
Right.
Yeah.
You had Devontae Freeman, but you don't give him the ball at all.
Hand the ball off. Hand the ball off. Well, because you're not using clock. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that happen there, right? But what a great comeback, though. Like, I mean, it is right the best Super Bowl comeback ever.
Oh yeah, it is. It was absurd. You never thought, like, I've seen so many Super Bowls. I'm like, this could never happen.
Oh, when Julio makes that catch,
Yeah.
you're like, it's over. It's over. And then all of a sudden, it just spirals. So good. Love it. Because I'm not a Falcons fan, not a Matt Ryan fan. I'm not a Patriots fan, but it was just great to watch. So let's see. So look, I'm not here to cause any trouble. Just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Oh, God.
85 Bears, Super Bowl 20. Look, we were young, obviously. I was 6 years old getting into football. That the whole season, I'd watched a couple games. I watched Walter Payton running around, football in one hand. That's what just sold me on football, sold me on the Bears. We became a Bears fan. So when the Super Bowl came around, now they're there. I didn't even care about like the losing the game to Miami. I didn't know about undefeated. Like, I didn't know about any of that stuff. Like, I was like, the team I just like and this dude that I love is in the Super Bowl. And then it was just like the greatest Super Bowl ever because they just murdered him.
I remember.
And the fridge gets the touchdown, dude. And I was like, the fridge. I love the fridge. I was like, oh my God, the fridge just got a touchdown. But you know what's the best part about the whole game is we were playing the Super Bowl squares, where you buy squares.
Yeah.
And I'm like 6 years old. And I was like, I'll buy a square. One square.
Sick.
Guess what square won?
Sick.
The whole Super Bowl squares. And they won the Super Bowl. And they won by
46 to 10.
They 46
Did you do the Super Bowl shuffle when you won?
I was so great, dude. It was like obviously a Bears fan for life from then on out. Like
It's funny. It's funny that it was 46 because 46 is a very unusual number.
It was a crazy number, right?
Because it should be 45.
0, right?
I mean,
6 and 0. Nobody wanted 6 and 0. And I was like, I got $1.
You got 6, dude. You think? Yeah.
I won $100.
Yeah. I remember watching that game.
What do you do with $100 in 1985 when you're 6?
Right.
Yeah. We stopped watching the game in the first quarter. We went downstairs and we went, I don't know, we were playing cards or whatever.
Oh, dude.
The game was over in the first quarter.
Nobody's watching the game except me, posted up right in front of the TV, 2 feet away, the whole time, just like, this is the best thing ever. Loved it, dude.
Watching
best
Tony
thing
Eason get creamed the whole game.
Richard Dent MVP, defensive MVP.
What is
Richard Dent.
What is Tony Eason doing now? Like, talk about, and I was happy because that was a year, because of course I'm a Dolphins fan. Dolphins beat the Bears, the only team that can beat the Bears. And so, right, the Dolphins are going to go to the Super Bowl. They play at home against the freaking Patriots and they chill. How do you lose to Tony Eason? Where did Tony Eason come
from? Was
from?
it Eason or was it Grogan?
It was Grogan. Well, until Grogan was in the Super Bowl, though, right?
He had to come in because Tony Eason couldn't do anything.
Right.
So they put in Grogan. Well, we need a more experienced quarterback in there. And he got killed, too.
Yeah, it was brutal. Loved it. So that's my number one.
Yeah, figures.
I am in shock.
Oh, no.
My number one, January 8th, 2011. We were there live. We were there in the stadium. It was the Beastquake.
Oh, no.
Man, that was so good.
Game.
Oh,
so good.
We didn't care who won. We just wanted to get
Right.
a playoff game. And then it came with a game so crazy, a run so crazy
Yeah.
that it
Dude.
was an earthquake.
It was so random we even got tickets. Remember, Dustin's like, you guys wanted the game? Like, there's none of us that are fans except Blake.
No.
Blake's the best part.
We got them because we were at the refectory.
Right.
And I'm like, we should get tickets. And so I got them that day, right after they clinched the game.
Dude, that was epic. I still can't believe that went down.
And then we went to Famous Dave's.
Yeah. That was pretty epic though. I mean, Beastquake.
Like an earthquake happening because of fans screaming and yelling. It's crazy.
Yeah. That was pretty. None of us really care. Like at first, like, yeah, whatever. Then we started all cheering, and then even Blake's like took it pretty well. Everyone's like
right.
backing on Blake.
Blake had to get Taco Bell and pass out in the car.
Dude. Well, because here's the thing, though. That's legitimately one of the best runs that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I mean, he's throwing off defenders multiple times. It's just crazy how he gets to the end zone there, because there's got to be 6 or 7 guys constantly like getting behind him like multiple times. Yeah, he still keeps moving through, and the crowd's just going nuts.
Oh yeah.
And you can't help but go nuts. Like, none of us are Seahawks fans, but we're all excited. And but literally the best part of that though was the Famous Dave's afterwards.
Yeah.
Because we go into because none of us been to Famous Dave's. We go in there, and Blake, the only New Orleans fan, moping in the car. We go in there. We have the best meal ever after one of the greatest playoff games we've ever seen. That was epic. That was good. That's a tough one. That's a good one because we were there at the game. So, man, what a top 5! That was a great top 5. A lot of amazing games there. So let's jump back into movies one more time. And I got to tell you, I think this is one of my favorite topics that we've had so far. Because
go anywhere.
Well, what I love about this is that when I started thinking about this topic, like every time we talk about top movies in the 80s, top different action movies or horror movies or whatever we talk about, it's kind of all the same stuff, right? Like everybody knows them, everybody's heard them, most people have anyway, and some people agree, some people don't. When I looked at this list, I was like, this is great because now we throw in some movies that our listeners may not have heard about, which we like, and underrated movies or just gems of movies. And this is a good chance for people to learn a little bit. Hear not only what we think, but maybe go out and watch a new movie, huh? So we got top 5 gems, underrated, not known as well, whatever you want to call it, right? We're gonna throw out some of these movies. So HSC top 5, we're gonna call them gem movies. Here we go. Derek, this is yours, so why don't you lead us off?
All right. So I'm starting at number 5, and I've got 2 on my list that are actually even hard to find to watch. That's how hidden of a gems they are.
Oh man, Derek's getting intense on the hidden gems. I'm not that intense on mine.
This one is a childhood favorite of mine. I had to get the DVD from like bootleg and everything. It's a Disney movie, but it's not on Disney Plus. Condor Man.
Wow, dude, you just went deep.
1981 movie about a comic book writer who has his own comic, and he tries to become a superhero and goes up against the Russians in a spy thriller.
Oh my god, dude. I didn't go that deep on mine, man.
Derek wins. Derek wins.
If that's your number 5,
Oh shit, dude.
Well, that's because some of the other ones are more main. The other ones,
Okay. I mean, Condor Man.
No,
That's
no, dude.
I
Okay.
I'll tell you what I'm watching later. Okay, Wes, what do you got at
now
5?
remember, it's 1981 cheesy Disney movie though,
Yeah.
too.
Well, we're gonna change his nickname from the Big Smooth to Condor Man. What
All right.
do you got 5, Wes?
The cat from outer space. The
Dude,
cat
I
from
thought.
outer
Wait a
space.
minute. Wait a minute. I thought Derek went deep.
Dude, I just went into all my traumatization from childhood right there.
I'm pretty sure that's probably on Disney Plus.
No.
The cat from outer space.
Yeah.
This is the gem movie you're recommending to our listeners.
Yes.
All 11 of them. That's what's happening here. Okay.
Boom,
Tell,
Disney Plus.
tell us about this movie,
The Cat
Wes.
from Outer Space is on there.
About
Wes.
a cat
From outer space. Jesus. That's all you got?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go a little more mainstream here because this is more of an underrated movie. I'm sure people know about it, but I don't think it got enough credit, and I think it's a gem of a movie. It's got my man Val Kilmer in it, and it's The Saint because he plays such a good role,
Yeah.
and on top of that, the storyline is so underrated because how good is this storyline about energy? And when you look at the energy things going on in the world for forever, and you start talking about this, hydrogen based energy and cold fusion, like it's such a good storyline. Val Kilmer kills it, and he's the same, dude. It's so good.
And he's super smart because he turned down Batman and Robin to do the Saint.
Right. And it's not wasn't the most popular movie out there, but it's a great movie, and I think everybody needs to see it. Love it.
Elizabeth Shue, man.
Elizabeth Shue and Val Kilmer, you can't go wrong. In Russia. So I got the Saint at number 5. Let's see, Wes, start us off number 4 with the dog from
Shaggy Dog.
Jupiter.
No, there's a dog movie somewhere.
Airbuds.
But the Airbud was so good.
Nah, my number 4 is Network.
Oh, that's good.
It's a movie that honestly I swear they don't want people to watch.
Right.
It's all about the media and how screwed up it is. But it's the only movie to have 3 best acting winning Oscars in one movie. And honestly, Robert Duvall should have probably won something too. He was fantastic. He was just so good in that. The writing was amazing. It's probably one of the best written movies ever. It's all what's so screwed up about the media today. This guy who wrote it, I think he was from India. He was like 40 years ahead of his time.
Right.
He just saw like how he just showed you how. I mean, you want to talk about the Saudis and all that stuff? Like he nailed it. There's just so many great so many great performances in that movie.
I would be shocked that if 5 out of 10 people have seen it,
No.
And
I
that's the
swear they
problem.
don't
That's the
want
problem.
people to watch it.
Right. It's
Except
a great
us
movie.
3, right?
Right.
I mean,
but even if we took another 7, like 6 of them wouldn't have seen it, right?
Remember, this is 1976. This was when Rocky won.
Right.
All the President's Men, which probably should have won. I mean, all these. You had Network, and then you had Taxi Driver,
right?
all in the same year. Any one of those movies could have won.
But I love those movies that, are like The Saint. Like I
Yeah.
just mentioned it, there's an eye-opening plot to it. Like it's real stuff, But then you top it off with good acting and a good, well done screenplay, things like that, which make it such a good movie. So that's a great number four. Uh my number four, people may have seen this, some people may have not. I think it's super underrated. It's Multiplicity.
Oh no.
We've only seen it
Because
14 million times.
right, but a lot of people have never seen it, right? And it's such a good movie, dude. It's funny, it's down to earth, it's about like values and family and like what's wrong with science and what you should do. But the reality is Michael Keaton just kills the role. Because how can you play yourself three different people, three different ways, and kill each role? Like he actually kills three different roles, playing himself three different ways as that actor, and that's tough to do, right? Uh, I see that movie as if you had to, as an actor, if you had to do that, I think it takes a special kind of actor to do it. And I think Michael Keaton was the guy to do it. And it's funny, it's good, it's heartwarming, like it's a great movie. Like it's a hidden gem. Number four for Derek.
This one is a hidden gem because I don't think it will be on air anymore. Because of the way politics and everything are going. 1994 movie that actually told us what was going to happen, and that's PCU.
Oh, PCU. I love PCU. So good.
Oh jeez.
What's the best part of PCU, Derek?
Oh gosh, it's just the whole thing with the pre-freshman coming to orientation and everything. He pisses off every single group there in this college, and it's just
Right.
hilarious. Like everything he does is just wrong. But yeah, and then George Clinton is in it.
Well, and it's this God, why can't I think of his name right now? The actor.
So
Uh
Jeremy Piven
Jeremy
or
Piven. Jeremy Piven. It's kind of like his coming out party
Mhm.
as a guy who worked really hard in becoming an actor in acting school, and like this guy tried really hard, and he had this
He's
great
always the
coming out
supporting
party.
guy, and then he
Right,
got the lead.
right. It's like his
John
coming.
Favreau crushes it in this.
Yeah, Piven. I
Better-
think it's such a great stepping stone for Jeremy Piven in his career, and I love that movie. It's so good. That's a good man. I can't believe I didn't think of that one. That was your number four. Number three. Number three. I think Derek, you probably like this one. Empire Records.
Nice.
I love. There's so many good actors. First of all, in this movie, like the list is crazy. And then like the whole storyline of like the small record company or record store, versus the big conglomerate,
Which
but
are out of
also
business now too.
right, which they're out of his. What a difference 30 years makes.
Right.
Uh, but then they get individual storylines going with all these great actors, with the overall plot. So you got this like overall plot happening, but everybody has their individual stories. And I can't even name all the actors in there. But yeah, if you look at that,
Pre-fame Renee Zellweger's in that.
yeah, Ethan Embry, Liv Tyler, Toby Maguire, Anthony LaPaglia, like it's
Rory
just so,
Cochrane.
yeah, it's crazy. So love that movie, and most people have never seen it. You ask the average person seen Empire Records and they haven't, and you should because it's a great movie.
I've
So
seen
number three,
I've seen that probably a million times too.
right? What do you got at three, Derek?
My number three is it's because it's hard to get because it was a Weinstein picture and he still owns the rights to it, so they can't show it anywhere and you can't get the DVD. It's not being released at all. 1999's Dogma.
Dogma's good. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really find it anywhere. You can't if you try to buy it, it's like $100 for a DVD.
Right. Well, it's those all those actors that are in the all Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Because who's all in that movie? Like, I mean, geez, think about that.
It's Ben Affleck, Matt
Okay, Matt Damon,
Damon,
Selma Hayek.
yeah, Linda Fiorentino, Jay and Silent Bob, George Carlin. I mean,
But it's so
Chris
like
Rock. Oh, Alan Rickman, Alanis Morissette.
it's
Yeah,
one of those movies that's so like like against the grain, right? It's against like what everybody wants to see, but they're just doing it. Like they don't care.
right.
And that's I mean, it's not I gotta admit, it's not like the greatest like plot ever, right? But it's funny, right? It's good
Yeah.
acting. It's they're doing it on purpose. Like what's happening, and it's funny. And so that's what I like about it. All right, that was number three.
Yep.
Wes, did you do your three? Did you start us?
No, I haven't done three.
Oh, what's your three?
It's a three. It's a three movie. 3 Days of the Condor with
Oh,
Robert Redford.
yeah,
Dude, that movie, it's not only like creepy how everyone gets killed in the beginning, but if you watch the end of the movie, it tells you exactly why we went to all these wars in
right.
1975. Like it's the same thing as Network. It's just a brilliant movie.
That's Robert Redford.
It's Robert Redford, dude. I mean, talk about an underrated, just not just an actor, but he did everything. He put it all together. It was a great
Right.
movie. Back in the 70s. I mean,
Yeah, it's been a long time since I saw that movie.
mhm.
I'll have to watch that again.
Oh, you got to watch it.
It probably will hit a little bit harder than when I was like a teenager.
Oh yeah, you're gonna know. Like, oh yeah, that's what I was like.
Right. All right. Well, Derek, lead us off number two.
Number two, I love this movie so much, but it kind of gets um not talked about as much because of the other movies of the time, like Goodfellas and all that. But it's King of New York.
Okay.
Christopher Walken,
Yeah.
drug dealer, gets out of jail, prison, tries to re-up and get his business back going. A great cast in this. You have like Wesley Snipes, David Caruso, Lawrence Fishburne, Steve Buscemi. I mean, the cast is great. Plus, it's Christopher Walken's the star of it, and he's it's one of my favorite crime drama movies.
Wait, and it's Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Dude, so good. Like he's so good in so many roles. Yeah, and I'm down with that. All right, Wes, what do you got at two?
I got Glengarry Glen Ross.
Oh, so good.
I mean,
Oh,
I
hey, you know
I
how many people
never
haven't seen this?
I've never like So when I tried to act and I was bad when I was a teenager, that's the only lines we did was from that movie.
Right.
And we all had to play all the different characters. And then I finally watched the movie and I was like, oh my God, like this movie's just legit. But think about it. When's the last time you've seen it on TV? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
it's ridiculous. It's such a great movie. Like,
Dude,
there's what, only like 7 actors in the whole movie, and they're all famous and great.
Right.
yeah.
Dude, when I first started selling stuff 25 years ago, they were like, Glengarry and Ross, we're gonna watch it in the training room.
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street, you got nothing
Yeah.
on Glengarry Glen Ross.
Right, Wes, wasn't everyone wanting to be Alec Baldwin, right? When you're
Yeah.
acting
Oh,
class.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But these were all like legit Italian actors who were like in their 40s and 50s. And they just nailed the roles. And I'm like, which role am I gonna play? I'm like 19. I'm like, I'm gonna play the idiot. Who's the idiot?
You can be Kevin Spacey.
I'm Kevin-
Yeah.
The one that gets yelled at the entire movie.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's basically what I got yelled at the whole time.
yeah, that's a good one, Wes. That's a good one. Man. All right, number 2, I got the Boondock Saints.
Oh, nice.
I mean, look, these guys, they're going out there and they're not famous actors, but they play the roles so good. And they're out there just being like the vigilantes. And then you got William Dafoe playing the cop. Dude, the whole movie's so good. There's so many good lines in the movie. And then they got their buddy who's like the idiot. He's always messing lines up, which is hilarious. But these guys are just like amazing in the movie. And if you've ever seen Boondock Saints, it's not the typical movie. Like it's so untypical from what you'd see from most plots.
Well, then most Walking Dead fans will love that Norman Reedus is in it.
Yeah.
And then any young Indiana Jones fan will.
But I mean, I love that movie. It's from start to finish, it keeps you intrigued, and it's one of those movies that like you'll stay intrigued the whole movie. Here we go, number 1. Number 1. Let's see, Wes, you got to lead us off here. What do you got?
I got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh wow! A little
When's the
bit of
last time
Jack.
you've seen that on
A
TV?
little bit of Jack. Dude,
Everybody just wants that movie to go away.
Right.
Nobody like that. I have not seen that movie on. I mean, for years.
It's such an intense movie.
It won Best Picture.
Yeah.
1975.
I'll bet you like most people have not seen that movie.
No.
I mean, I've probably seen it a handful of
It's a
times.
really hard movie to watch.
I got the DVD upstairs, man.
Yeah.
I own that thing.
Because
Filmed
it's like
here in Oregon.
Dude, you think about like they do that to people?
Oh, Nurse Ratched is probably one of the biggest villains of all time.
Because that's real stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're out there doing to people.
And it's also probably one of the reasons why they shut down a lot of asylums.
Right.
You know,
Oh, I'm sure.
It created a major stigma.
Yeah, because it was happening a lot.
Yeah.
A lot, especially before that, like 40s, 50s, 60s. Like it was even back to the 20s. Like that was huge.
Yeah.
But that's an intense movie. It is. And that's a rough one, dude.
Wes is going the 70s on us.
Yeah.
Well, 70s, man. They want the 70s to go away.
Well, he's also going into this like
I could have gone Deer Hunter. I could have gone, but Deer Hunter.
But you're into this like oppression government, like
Screw it all, man.
yeah. They're getting after us. All right. Well, so my number one, uh, this guy called James Cameron
Oh,
was a
no.
producer and wrote the screenplay, helped write the screenplay. And you'd think, man, this is a blockbuster, right? James Cameron. But this is Strange Days.
Strange
And if
days.
you haven't seen Strange Days, and most people haven't because it was a $50 million budget and made $8 million in the box office, it's Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh man, what's her name? The girl that plays in it. But this is the best, dude. It's such a good movie, and a screenplay by James Cameron. And it's just a crazy screenplay. It happens in like right before the year 2000, where everybody's going nuts. They think the world's gonna end, but they also have this like crazy like this mind like you could put this thing on your head and it like it's like virtual reality back then before virtual reality existed, but it's not like virtual reality where you see it, you like feel it. And then it's like this crazy, like racist year 2000 cops, Black Lives Matter, dude. All this stuff's happening, bro. And it's nuts. And if you've never seen Strange Days, you gotta watch it. I'll tell you, you'll watch it, you'll be like, how have I never seen this movie?
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
Dude, you have to watch it.
Not seen it. Swear.
it's on HBO, right? It's if you have the HBO Max app or anything like that, you can watch Strange Days. It's on there right now.
It's so good.
You're
But
thinking Juliette Lewis.
Juliette Lewis, that's yeah, and she kills it too. It's such a good movie. Ralph Fiennes, he just kills it, dude. It's the best role he's ever played.
Mm.
Watch it, watch it, dude.
I think
You feel bad for him, you feel good for him. You're like, there's so much stuff happening.
I think his best role, and it's one where he's just the most evil, was Schindler's List.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's pretty evil. It's pretty
Yes.
messed up. Strange Days, though, I think it's the most underrated. Like, it's crazy nobody watched in the box office. It's like, how does James Cameron's screenplay not get go blow up?
And directed by Catherine Bigelow, who she had
Right?
lots of hits too. So
Well, it was kind of like James Cameron was like, fine, go ahead and direct it. He's like, because I could do it myself. But that it's crazy. If nobody's seen it and you're listening, watch it. You'll love it. And you'll be like, I've never seen this before. Number one, Derek, what do you got?
you want to get crazy? We're gonna get crazy here with this one. 1988 black exploitation parody movie. I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Oh man, how did I know you were gonna do that?
Oh my god, dude. Did he just
Oh, it's so good too. It's so good.
Enoch Ivory Wayans wrote and directed it, stars in it, with pretty much every black exploitation um, actor playing parts in it. It's for me, I've seen it I don't know how many times, but yeah, you don't see it anywhere anymore.
No.
Young Damon Wayans.
Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock,
Dude,
one rib.
because nobody ever understands when I'm like, how much for one rib?
Well, one rack is no. How much for a rib?
The can I get a soda? Just pour it in my hand, 10 cents. Dude, it's
Yeah,
so
change
funny.
for 100.
It's so good, dude. And Jim Brown.
Yeah, Jim
Yeah.
Brown. You got Bernie Casey, Isaac Hayes, Kung Fu Joe.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's another one that people have never seen. It takes a special kind of sense of humor though. You have to be really like you can't be offended by a lot of stuff to watch that movie.
Man, Antonio Fargas coming out with the goldfish platforms shoes.
Oh man, the pimp of the year. So good, dude. Oh, I love that movie. So those are some hidden gems for you guys. And boy, did we gave you some gems.
Who indeed?
I gotta say, Wes, I liked your gems, dude.
My,
I
You're
told
mine's a
very
you I
little
was going to
more
be West
serious.
this week.
yeah. Derek was Wes this week. Uh, Wes was really like down with the man gems.
And, outer space cats.
And
Dude.
outer space.
Cat from outer space, man. Watch it.
Oh,
It'll tug
Jesus.
at your heartstrings. Your kids will love it. So
Oh,
about kids.
it's right there with Pluto Nash.
Well, I think I would go with like Escape from Witch Mountain and
Escape from Witch Mountain. No, I almost went with Short Circuit. I was like,
Oh,
maybe
nice.
Short Circuit. Johnny Five.
Yeah, there was a few, that I thought maybe either were a little too mainstream or that, Derek might go with like Big Trouble in Little China.
I was going to, but I was like, nah, it's too easy.
Yeah.
I was gonna do and Steve would love this one, Salton Sea.
Salton Sea, I love
Salton
that
Sea is
movie.
good.
One of my
Salton Sea is
favorites.
good.
I was gonna do Swimming with Sharks.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a
Yeah.
great movie.
But you know what? The number one that now I regret taking it off? Top Secret.
Oh. Yeah.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
Wes
it.
hasn't seen it.
I'm not seeing
Dude,
it.
you haven't seen Top Secret?
Well, what's the plot? Who's in it?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer?
Oh,
It's a
It's a
spoof movie.
It's a spoof movie.
I've probably seen it.
It's so good, dude.
Well, if we're going there, how about Real Genius?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Really is.
Yeah, I was so there's a few of them that this was a hard topic because there's so many hidden gem movies.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah, that's one I was like, we could go any direction.
because a lot of times it's like maybe they got bad reviews or whatever there's a lot of different cases where people haven't seen them.
Well, and then they stopped playing them.
Right.
Yeah, and not only that, there's also rights things too. Because I talked to my family they came up from LA, and I talked to them about it, and they're like, he reads a lot of books, and he's like, what about Rebecca? They won't even. There's a lot of movies because of rights they won't show anymore on
Right.
old movies. So
Yeah, it's unfortunate because there's a lot of hidden gems out there that people are missing. I mean, my list was at least 20 to 30 deep before to try to eliminate.
Yeah, there's so many movies.
I just kept throwing them on there.
I went to Movie Madness. They have 80,000 titles, DVDs, just to look.
Right.
Because I've been watching Succession. I bought I got the second season of Succession. But I started looking around, just getting ideas. There's so many freaking movies. It's just ridiculous.
I'm surprised, Wes. 70s movie that doesn't get as much press because of the other movies he did in that time. Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a hard movie. That's a hard movie.
Look,
it's insane movie to watch.
Insane.
I even
Fredo, man.
Dude,
Fredo,
I had Die Hard 2 on my list. Because how underrated though is Die Hard 2?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh. It's so good, dude.
Die Hard? No, it wasn't. It was called Die Harder.
Die Harder.
Remember when it came the previews?
Because Die Hard 1 is like, gets so much, and then Die Hard 3 came out afterwards. There was like, oh, Die Hard 3, so awesome, Samuel Jackson and Jeremy, what's his name? And then it's like
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, like Die Hard 2 was so good, dude.
And for Christmas, you got a double feature because they're both Christmas movies.
Right.
Die Hard 1 and 2 are both Christmas movies.
But it's so underrated, though. That's the problem. I was like, man, this is. But then I couldn't put it on there because it's a little bit too mainstream, you know.
Yeah, it's always on TV. That's the problem.
Yeah, but it's so good. So
It
it's
is.
hard. That was a good topic. So hopefully, listeners enjoyed it. This is one of our favorite podcasts. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. Appreciate you listening. Don't forget to take the poll. We do the poll of what you think the best top 5 gem movie that we said was. So you get it out there. See who
Yeah,
thinks
from outer space. It's obvious choice.
I what
Condor Man.
Wes is trying to sell Cats from Outer
Everybody
Space,
watched
so.
3 Days of Condor.
Yeah, 3 Days of Condor is
It's
good.
informative.
I'm gonna rewatch that because I haven't seen it in a while. So that was good stuff. So thanks everybody for listening. Appreciate it.
I
We'll
got
talk to you next
one
time.
last
Oh,
sports
what?
thing. Congratulations to Domingo Herman for throwing the 24th perfect game ever in MLB history.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
It's been 10 years since it happened.
Yes.
10 years. That's crazy.
And guess what? Against my team, the A's. Way to go, A's.
Well, that's because the A's are like a minor league team right now, but yeah.
Well, it's Moneyball. It's Moneyball.
It's Moneyball. Yeah, they're setting everybody up.
It's good stuff. No hitter. Nice.
Perfect game.
Perfect game. All right, we'll wrap it up. Talk to you guys next time.